I'm going to be giving you a fast tour of all my BeamNG mods. So first we have the Lexus GS350. We have a 16 to 18 Chevy Silverado. This one's pretty rare. We have a 612 Scaglietti. Toyota Prius V, which is like the more recent Prius. We got a Volkswagen Passat. I don't know what year this is. 2009 Mercedes-Benz E-Class. We have a Rimac C2. We have a 2020 Ferrari GTC Lusso. We have a 2024 Toyota Tacoma row renderings. Also row renderings, which is the best quality mod ever. We have this 2025 Ford Mustang. Like, all the buttons are accessible. We have also another row rendering, the 2026 Bugatti Tourbillon. 2027 Mercedes-Benz GLB. Acura Integra, the most iconic Acura Integra. We got an Acura MDX. We got an older Acura TLX. And an Acura TSX. We got an Alfa Romeo 4C and Alfa Romeo 8C. Pretty similar. We have an Alfa Romeo Giulia and an Alfa Romeo Stelvio. This one is a pretty good quality mod. We have an Alfa Romeo Tonale. By the way, it's built on the same body as a Dodge Hornet, which I don't have yet. We have a beater 2003-2006 Toyota Camry, super old. We have an Aston Martin DB11 and Aston Martin DBS, just two Aston Martins, pretty similar. We have the SUV Aston Martin DBX. We have the Aston Martin Valhalla and Valkyrie, both crazy looking Aston Martins. Then we have the Vanquish and the Vantage, also pretty similar. Then we have an Audi A4. We also have an Audi A5 and A6, they also look pretty similar. We also have an older A6, just to mention it. We got an Audi A7, looks like they have an e-tron of it. And we got an Audi A8. We got an Audi Q5 and Q7 and a Q8. We just have the Qs, but we don't have the Q3 or Q4. We have the Audi R8. We have the Audi RS3 Coupe. And the Audi TT. We have the Audi e-tron GT. We have the BMW 335i. We have the 3 Series E90. And have to mention 163 different configurations of this car, which there's so many you can spawn. We also got this BMW 5 Series E60 and BMW 7 Series. 178 configurations. Canimation mod. Then we got this 3 Series wagon. We got this BMW E34 and G23 Series. And this E46, which is also super old. I like vintage BMWs. We got the BMW M2. We got the BMW M2 35i. So, that's cool. We got an old M3 E30. We got an M3 F80. And the newer one, the M3 G80. Looks super nice. We got an M4 G82. Do not mind the way it looks like that. It looks really good. BMW M5 F10 and M5 F90. And the newest one, the M5 G90. We got the BMW M6 and the M8. Then we got the BMW X1, the BMW X3 and X4. We got this old BMW X5 E53 and the newer X5. We have this BMW X6 and BMW X7, which is the most recent X model. Then we have this BMW Z3 Coupe. You can make it look better if you really want. Then we have this Z4 and Z4 Coupe as well. Then we have this BMW i4, which I haven't spawned in a while, and BMW i8. I really do want the i3. We got the Bentley Arnage and the Bentayga, Continental, and Flying Spur. So like all the models of the Bentley. Oh, and I forgot to mention the Bentley Mulsanne. Then we got this Chevy Tahoe, an older Tahoe. We got a Bugatti Bolide. We got a Bugatti Chiron and EB110. We got a La Voiture Noire. And we got a Bugatti Veyron. Then we have a Buick LaCrosse. We have a Cadillac CT5 and a Fleetwood. And then we have an Eldorado, which is also very old. Then we have this older Escalade ESV, and then this newer Escalade ESV. And then we have an XT6, which is the biggest version of the SUVs of the Cadillacs. Except for the Escalade. Then we have this old freaking Suburban, which is crazy. Then we have this Chevy Aveo. And then we have two Chevy Camaros. We have a Chevy Caprice, but the newer one. I was trying to find the old one. And the Chevy Chevelle, which is a muscle car. Then we got the Corvette C6 and this vintage Corvette C3. We have a Corvette C7. We have a Chevy Cruze, like 2014, and then the 2020 Chevy Cruze. Then we have a Chevy El Camino. Then we have a Chevy Equinox. And a Chevy Express van. And an older Impala and new Impala. Just both of them. Oh yeah, and this very old vintage Impala. Then we got the Chevy Malibu and Chevy SS, built on the same body as the Holden Commodore. Then we have this Chevy Silverado and this older Tahoe. And then we have the newer Tahoe and Suburban in the same pack. Then we have the Chevy Traverse, and we have the Chevy Volt, and Chevy Avalanche. Then we have the Chevy Colorado, which is like a more recent mod. Then we have this Chrysler 300. We have this Chrysler Crossfire, Chrysler Pacifica. And then we have two different town and countries, but one includes the Volkswagen Rutan. That's why I got that. Then we got this Dodge Challenger and this DMC DeLorean, which is insane. Then we got this older Challenger. Then we got the new Dodge Charger. And then we have this police Charger and then this Charger with 71 configurations. And then we have this old Charger. Then we have this Dodge Charger Concept, which is also kind of insane. Then we have this like 2009 Charger. No, 2006 maybe. Then we have this Dodge Coronet. And we have this Dodge Durango and then this Dodge Grand Caravan, which is super old. We also have this Dodge Journey and then a Dodge Magnum. Then we have a Dodge Ram and then we have a Dodge Ram 1500, which I had last in the beginning. I got this one. Then we have a Dodge Viper and then an older Dodge Viper, 1996. We have this ETK K-Series, which is supposed to be the BMW Z3. Then we got a Ferrari 288 GTO. We also have a 458 Italia and a 599. Looks really cool. Then we have an A12 Superfast. Then we have a Ferrari Daytona. Then we have a vintage Ferrari F40 and an F430 Spider. We have a Ferrari F8 and a Ferrari FXX. Then we have the Ferrari LaFerrari. Then we have the Ferrari Portofino. Then we have a more recent Ferrari, the Ferrari Purosangue. And then we have an SF90. We have a Ferrari Testarossa and then a Fiat 124 Spider. Then we have a 2003 Ford Excursion. Then we have a Ford F-150 Raptor, like a real renderings. Then we have a Ford Bronco, and then older Ford Bronco. We have a Ford Crown Victoria. I forgot I had this mod. Then we have an older Expedition and a newer Expedition, but not the completely new Expedition. We have the Ford Explorer, like more recent, and then we have the 2016 to 2019 Ford Explorer. Then we have a Ford F-150 and a Ford F450. Also comes with the F250. Then we have a Ford Falcon and a Ford Fiesta, and then we have a Focus 3 and a Focus hatchback. Then we have a Ford Fusion, but like the older one. Then we have both generations of the Ford GT. We have a Ford Gran Torino. Then we have a Ford Model A and a Ford Mustang. We also have this newer Mustang and then this older Mustang, which looks so bad in the picture. Then we have this weird Mustang that I can't quite get rid of. Then we have this Ford Mustang Mach 1. Then we have a Ford Ranger and a Ford Taurus. Then we have a Ford Transit and then a Freightliner Cascadia. I like spawning this one. Then we have a GMC 2022 GMC Hummer EV. This is the truck version. I wish it came with the other one. Then we have a GMC Canyon and GMC Sierra. Then we have a GMC Terrain. Then we have a GMC Yukon. And then we have a Genesis G70, GV60, and then Genesis GV80. Then we have a Gumpert Apollo, which is a crazy car. Then we have a Honda Accord, like the middle, like 2018 to 2022. Then we have this older Honda Accord, and then we have the more recent Honda Accord. Then we have this old CRV, and then this CRV. Then we have the newer CRV. Then we have a Honda CRZ, and then a Honda CRF, which is also crazy. Then we have this Honda Civic, which you can take off the spoiler if you want. And then we have this old Honda Civic right here. Then we have this newer Honda Civic, and then we have this Honda Civic. Then here we have a Honda Civic Type R, and then this Type R. Then we have a Del Sol. Then we have an older Insight. Then we have a Honda NSX, such a good mod. Then we have a Honda Odyssey. Then we have an older, like a little bit older Odyssey. Then we have this even older Odyssey. Then we have a Honda Pilot, like an older Pilot, and like a more recent Pilot. Which one do you guys prefer? Then we have a Honda Prelude, older Honda Prelude. Then we have a Honda S2000, very loved by fans. Then we have a Hummer H3. Then we have a Hyundai Accent, and then a more recent Hyundai Azera, and then a Hyundai Elantra. Then we have this weird Elantra that I don't like. Then we have a Hyundai Equus. Then we have the first Hyundai Genesis generation, the coupe, and then the regular. Then we have a Hyundai Kona N-Line. And then we have Hyundai Palisade 2006, and then older Palisade. Then we have a Hyundai Santa Fe 2002, and then the more recent Santa Fe. Oh yeah, and then we have the older Santa Fe, and the more recent Accent. Then we have a Hyundai Tiburon, and then Hyundai Tucson, and then an older Tucson. Then we have a Hyundai Veloster. Then we have a Hyundai i30N. Then we have an Infiniti G37, and an Infiniti Q50, and Q60, and then Q70. These are all like the sedan Infinitis. Then we have the Infiniti QX60. Then we have a Jeep Gladiator. Then we have a Jaguar F-Pace, and a Jaguar F-Type. Rest in peace, F-Type. These are just casual Jaguars. We have the Jaguar XE, Jaguar XF, and then Jaguar XK. Then we have a Jeep Cherokee non-leaked. I don't know what that means. I guess they didn't leak it anywhere. Then we have a Jeep Compass, and then a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Then we have this old Grand Cherokee. Then we have this Jeep Wrangler and then this Jeep Wrangler. One's Canimation. Then we have the Kia K8. Tell me if you guys have it in your country. Then we have this Catfish Camaro. Then we have a Kia Cadenza and then a newer Carnival. Then we have an older Carnival, but it's the Sedona for the US. And then we have this middle 2022 Carnival. Then we have a Kia Forte, but I'm sure that you guys know it as Kia Sorento in other countries. Then we have a Kia EV3. Then we have a Kia K4 and Kia K5. And a Kia K9, which was only sold for like a year. Then we have a Kia Niro. Then we have a Kia Optima. Then we have a newer Kia Sorento. And then we have an older Kia Sorento. Then we have a Kia Soul. We have an older Kia Sportage and then a newer Kia Sportage. Then we have a Kia Stinger. Then we have a Kia Telluride. Here we get some supercars. We have the Koenigsegg Agera, Koenigsegg Jesko, and then the Koenigsegg Regera. Then we have a very slow car named the Lexus LBX. Then we have a Lamborghini Countach 2022 and a Lamborghini Aventador. And then we have the older Countach, so they had brought back the new one. Then we have a Lamborghini Diablo and then a Lamborghini Egoista. Then we have a Lamborghini Estake and a Lamborghini Gallardo. Then we have a Lamborghini Huracan, and then we have an old Lamborghini called the Lamborghini Jalpa. Then we have a Lamborghini Murcielago. And then we have a Lamborghini Reventone and a Lamborghini Revuelto. Then we have a Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. And then the non-production Lamborghini, the Terzo Millennio. Then we have a Lamborghini Urus. Now we're out of the supercars. So we have a Land Rover Defender. Then we have a Land Rover Discovery 4. And then we have a Land Rover Range Rover. Then we have a Range Rover Sport. I'm not going to say Land Rover now. Then we have a Range Rover Velar. Then we have the first Land Rover Range Rover. Then we have the Land Rover Vogue. Then we have a Lexus ES and then an older Lexus GS S160. Then we have a Lexus GSF. Then we got a Lexus IS350 and then a Lexus ISF. Then we got a Lexus LC500 and then a Lexus LFA. Then we got a Lexus LS460. Then we got the Lexus LX460 and then the Lexus LX500. Then we have the Lexus NX and then its older sibling, the Lexus RX. And then we have the new RX's younger sibling, the RX350. Then we got the Lexus RC and the Lexus UX. Then we got the Lincoln Aviator and then the newer Navigator and the older Navigator. Then we got the Lotus Emira. Then we have a Lucid Air Sapphire. And then we had this Elantra 2017. Then we have the Mazda 3 hatchback of 2020. Now we're to the Maserati. So we have the Maserati Ghibli, Maserati Levante, Maserati MC12, Maserati MC20, and then Maserati Quattroporte. I am missing the Gran Turismo, so don't mind that. Then we got a Mazda 3 and Mazda 5. Then we got a Mazda 787B. Then we got a Mazda CX-5 and Mazda CX-90. Then we got a Mazda Miata and Mazda RX-7. Guys, we got a McLaren 620R and a McLaren Artura. Then we got a McLaren F1. Then we got a McLaren Senna. Then we got a McLaren P1. And then we have this McLaren pack of all these McLarens, guys. So we got MP412C and then the Spider. We got a 540C. We have 570S, stuff like that. We got a 600 LT. We got a 625. We got 650, 675. There's just so many. The 720. There's the 750 and the 765. Then we got the Mercedes-Benz C63S AMG Coupe. Then we got the CLS 63. Then we got the GT63 AMG. Not BMW, Mercedes. Then we got the Mercedes SLR. Then we got the Mercedes SLS. And then we got a very expensive car, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. And then we had the Mercedes-Benz A45. Then we got this 4-door AMG GT. Then we got this older Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Then we had the newer Mercedes-Benz C-Class. And then we had this crazy Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR. Then we have the older E-Class and then the newer E-Class. Then we have this Mercedes-Benz E55 wagon. Then we have this Mercedes EQS. And then we had the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, and then the GLC Coupe, and then the GLS, the big one. Then we had this freaking old patent motor wagon Mercedes thing. It's insane. Then we have this Mercedes S-Class, the older one. Then we have the SL Class. And then we have the Mercedes-Benz SLK 55 AMG. Then we have the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter with 242 configurations. Then we have this freaking Mercedes-Benz Vision. Then we have this Mercedes GLE, and then the Mercedes-Benz W223. Then we have this Mercedes X-Class, which is not sold in the US. Then we got a Mercedes Maybach, guys. I only have two Mercuries. I have the Mercury Marauder and then the Mercury Grand Marquis. I'm missing like the Mercury Montego and stuff like that. Then we have a Mini Cooper Clubman. And then we have the Mitsubishi Lancer. And then we have the Nissan 240 SX. And then we have every generation of the Nissan Z. So we have the Nissan 350Z, 370Z, and then the 400Z. Which one do you guys like the best? Then we got this older Nissan Altima, and then a more recent Nissan Altima, and then an even older Altima. Then we have this Nissan Fairlady 300ZX. Then we have the Nissan Kicks, and older Nissan Maxima. And then we have a Nissan Armada 2025, but it's basically called the Patrol. Here's the same thing with the older one here. Then we have Nissan Rogue Sport. Then we have the Nissan GTR, and Nissan Rogue, and Nissan X-Trail. And then we got the Sentra. We had the newer Sentra. And then we have the Nissan Silvia. And then we got the Nissan R34 Skyline. And then we got the Nissan Titan and the Nissan Versa hatchback. Then we got all three Paganis. Pagani Huayra, Pagani Utopia, and then Pagani Zonda. Guys, I have one Plymouth Belvedere. Guys, we have the Pontiac Aztec. This thing is crazy. Then we have a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Then we have a Porsche 911 930, and then a Porsche 911 992. And then we have a Porsche 911 993. And then we have a Porsche 911 Carrera 2 Speedster. And then we have a Porsche 918. This thing is super rare. And then we got a Porsche 944. You know what else is rare? The Porsche Carrera GT, guys. And then we got the Porsche Cayenne, and then the older Porsche Cayenne. Then we got the Porsche 718 Cayman. Then we got the Porsche Macan EV. I want the regular Macan too. Then we got a Porsche Taycan. Then we got a Ram TRX, guys. And then we got a two-door Range Rover Evoque. Then we got this old Kia Rio, which is called Rio Kia, apparently. So that's why it's in this category here. Then we got a Rivian R1S. Then we got the Rolls-Royce Phantom, Rolls-Royce Wraith, Rolls-Royce Cullinan, Dawn, Ghost, and then Spectre. Then we have the Ford Mustang, I don't know what year. Then we have this Generation 4 NASCAR. And then we got this Pontiac Firebird, which requires a wheel pack. Then we have the SSC Tuatara. Then we got the Soledad Wakefield, which is the version of the PT Cruiser. And then we got a Subaru WRX STI, and then Subaru Legacy. And Subaru WRX. Then we got the newer WRX STI, and then we have a Tesla Cyberquad and Tesla Cybertruck. Then we have a Tesla Model 3 and a Tesla Model S. And then we have the Model X and then the Model Y, which this one looks super good. Then we have a Tesla Roadster 2011 and the newer Tesla Roadster 2023, which is just destined to come out. Then we got a Toyota 4Runner. And then we got a Toyota A386 Sprinter. Then we got a Toyota Avalon, an older one. Then we got a Toyota Camry. There's a bunch of Camrys. We got this Camry, we have this older Camry, we have this Camry, we have the XV70, and then we have the newer XV80 Camry. Then we have a Toyota Celica. Then we got an older Toyota Corolla, and then we got this even older Toyota Corolla. And then we got this Toyota Corolla Cross. We have a Toyota Previa, guys. Just look at this weird thing. Then we got a Toyota GR Yaris. And a GR86. Then we got a Toyota Grand Highlander and a Toyota Land Cruiser. But the picture is just a missing thing, guys. It doesn't look like that, don't worry. Then we have an older Land Cruiser 200 and then Land Cruiser 100. Then we have a Toyota MR2. Then we have a Toyota Mark II. And then we have this Prius, most common, this old ugly Prius, and then the new one, which was at the top. And then we have this RAV4, and then Toyota Sienna, and then the newer Sienna. Then we have the Toyota Supra A80, and then the Toyota Supra A90. Then we have the Toyota Highlander. Then we have the Toyota Tacoma and the Toyota Crown. Then we have the older Toyota Tundra, and then the newer Toyota Tundra. And then we have this Yaris, which crashes like insanely. And then we have this Yaris, which you cannot change the color of. Apparently, when it spawns white, and this one's gray or greenish. Then we have a Toyota BZ4, which comes with the Lexus RZ and the Subaru Solterra. And then we have this Subaru BRZ, which comes with the Toyota GR86 too, or GT86 it used to be called. Then we have the Volkswagen Arteon, and then we have the older Golf, and then we have the newer Golf. And then we have the Volkswagen Jetta. Then we have this older Jetta, and then we have this middle Jetta. Then we have the middle Golf. Then we have the Volkswagen Passat CC. It's pretty cool. This one's lowered. Then we have the Volkswagen Tiguan, and then we have the newer Tiguan. Then we have a Volkswagen Touareg. They actually completely stopped making this. Then we have a Volvo 60 series. And we have a Volvo S90 and a Volvo XC90. Then we have a Western Star Truck, and then we have a Yamaha. We also have this M7 Nissan Maxima, super old. And then we have some interesting automation cars. This Ford Flex, and then this Hummer H2, and then these two SWAT trucks. And then we have this Toyota Celica, and then we have Need for Speed traffic vehicles. It comes with the Caliber, Cobalt, Nissan Leaf, Taxi, and stuff like that. And then we have Asian traffic vehicles, though. Let me just show you the important one. We have a Toyota Yaris, by the way, like this Yaris. We have a Smart 4.2. We have Mini Cooper Countryman right here. We have a Nissan Leaf. And then we have the Chevy Spark. Chevy Aveo hatchback. And then the Chevy Spark. Where's the Chevy Spark, guys? Over here. So yeah, guys, there's one without like a rail on the top, there's one with a rail. And we have the Alfa Romeo Mito. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this freaking tour of all these cars. And if you want to get mods, just go to any website like this. Like, my mouse has an ugly thing on Google right now. It has a glitch because it just does that. But you go to mods host and you press download. I'll make it, I can make a tutorial, but guys. But he has a video uploaded of it anyway. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. Also, these are just cars that recently spawned. Don't mind those.